Okay, I'm gonna wheel it out and we're gonna give it a shot. Hi, I'm Gordon Jennings. I build these portable solar generators. I just finished a video on how I did this. It's up and running, and we're gonna teach you how to do that. Okay, when it comes to solar panels, I use the 100-watt solar panel because it's small and works well with this setup. And so you can get, in this particular case, I'm gonna sit down here on the ground. You can get one right from Harbor Freight if you want. It's called the Thunderbolt. It's a 100-watt solar panel from Harbor Freight. The thing that I like about it is it has these nice plastic corners on it. It's relatively short in stature. The problem is that it comes with some support legs like this on it, so you can tilt it and sit it on the ground. I had to drill them out. I had to drill the rivets out and remove these because they just rattled around and got in the way. And the second thing is the connector they have is the J connector. It's not the MC4 solar connectors that you're going to need. So I had to cut off the J connector that came with it, and then I bought an MC4 crimp kit that had all the pieces in it and the crimp tool and everything off of Amazon. And then I crimped on the appropriate MC4s. You can see that I used a cross piece here from that slotted flat bar. There's a top one and a bottom one. And the other issue that we had was with this solar panel, from the holes that they had mounted here, this one here and the bottom one down here, it was too long to fit on that frame. So I had to drill new holes here and here in order to get it to be short enough to fit on that frame. Otherwise it was too long and the bottom fell off. So that's the problem with the Harbor Freight. The next one is the Renogy 100-watt. I bought this off of Amazon as well. It's a pretty long one. I haven't tried mounting it yet, but it looks like it'll fit if I re-drill these holes, because they're probably too long to fit on that framework as well. Okay, this is the Eco-Worthy kit. It comes with a 100-watt Eco-Worthy panel with the MC4 connectors on the end. It comes with a red and a black wire to run from the MC4 to the charge controller. They're pretty long, and so we'll only need about 2 or 3 feet. So I cut that off and I use it for extra wire when I need it. So the MC4 connectors will connect right in there, negative and positive, respectively. And then they run to the charge controller, and you'll get a 30 amp charge controller that looks like this. It comes with a user's manual and some lugs that need to be crimped onto the wires, these wires, in order to fit in here. So the left two go to the solar panel, which will be these two. So you plug the MC4 into here, and then you'll measure the other end once we get it on the cart. I'll show you that. And they'll go into these respectively, the plus and the minus. The next two go from the charge controller to the battery. So Eco-Worthy includes 2 wires that go from here to the battery. Again, you'll have to crimp on a black and a red. The problem is that they look basically the same. They're both black. When you crimp the red connector on, you'll know that it goes to the positive. But when you go to put this on the battery, you can get confused because both of them are black. So what I did was I had some old heat shrink that I got from Radio Shack. And so I take the heat shrink and I put it on the wire like this. And then I slide it up to go around the lug. I'll show you here. I'm trying to do this with one hand. So I slide it up to here, and then I I use a heat gun or a soldering iron to shrink that down. And so now I have discerning colors to let me know which one is positive and which one is negative in order to go to the appropriate lug on the battery. So that's pretty cool. So these go to the solar panel, these go to the battery. It includes a kit, which is a instruction manual and talks about certain things. It will talk to you about that. And then it comes with these mounting brackets, which were meant to go on a flat surface. And so they were meant to be connected here with this miscellaneous hardware like this, and then you screwed it down to a flat surface like the top of your RV van or a piece of plywood. We're not going to use those at all, so I'm setting those aside. And so what you'll need to do is you'll need to get that slotted flat bar that I showed you in the earlier video, and you're going to need to cut a piece that goes from side to side. You'll need to cut up two pieces, one for the top and one for the bottom. And then you'll be able to take this eco-worthy panel, and using the various other pieces that come with it, we'll continue in our assembly of the kit. Eco-worthy has sharp corners on it. It doesn't have the plastic corners like the Renogy or the Thunderbolt does. And so you have to be real careful because those are sharp. And I had to take a metal file, and file them down so they didn't cut me and my customers when I sell these. The purpose of mine was to build a cart that when necessary, if the power goes out, I can wheel it in the house and I can plug the refrigerator, or I can plug the television or my computer or Wi-Fi or Starlink. If you have a Starlink, you can plug that into that. The problem with the Harbor Freight one is it's pretty fat. It's pretty wide, and it's tough to get through a standard door. So I'll show you once I get this built, to fit in the standard door and to go up and down the halls. You need a narrow one. A narrower one makes it easier to maneuver around. So I'm gonna build this with this eco-worthy one that I have. That's the one that I have used the most and that I like the best. I've got the framework ready to roll, ready to go. And so I'm gonna take the panel and I'm gonna mount it on the framework. Eco-worthy panel that I'm gonna go, and it's gonna just fit right on top of that. And so if you lay it down, I'm gonna put the bolts on the ground. If you lay it down like this, they're not that heavy. And I want to get as close to the top as I can without bumping into that. So I'm going to get it right there. And then if you hold it with your hand, you can take one of the bolts and you can weave it through. You want to make it symmetrical. And you take one of the bolts and you put it through the cross piece up here. I'm going to sit down to do this. Symmetrical, looks symmetrical. Get it through the cross piece. Get the bolt in. It looks like it's about there. Now it's not going to go anywhere. There's one hole from the side, and I'm going to go look on the other side to see how close I am to being symmetrical. And if I move this way, and it can come up a way so I don't have it down, I need to move it up. One hole there, and there's one hole there. So it's symmetrical from side to side, it's just too far down this way. So I'm going to try it again. I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to slide it up, take that bolt out. Actually, I can slide it up and leave the bolt in there, just have it come up to here. And if I drop the bolt, then I can come over here put it in the cross piece, and then I put it in there. Okay, the reason I want to get it as close to this is the battery's going to go under here, and if the rain comes down, I want it to shelter the battery. I'm going to put it in the battery and the cover in. All right, so I've got that top bolt in. I'm not going to tighten the bolts there. Okay, I finished tightening the bottom one, so all 4 now are tight, and you can wiggle it and feel like it's really sturdy. And now if you left any of these loose, you can tighten them up. Okay, I've got it all tightened down. I've got the solar panel mounted. This is what it will look like now. And you can see even without the battery counterbalance weight, it's stable. Okay, now that it's pretty stable and we've got it at that part, I bought some rubber covers to go over these bolts. I don't like them sticking out. They seem a little bit hazardous to stick out and might hurt some people. So I bought 100 of these to put on these 1/4-inch bolts just to keep them safe. And it also makes it look a little more professional. Now this is the eco-worthy charge controller that comes with it out of the box there. And you'll notice that it's a really nice charge controller. The problem is that the nuts right here require a lug on the end of them. So what you have to do is you have to measure, once we get it all set, you have to measure the wire, cut the wire, tin the wire, and then crimp a lug on the end of it so that it'll fit up in here. And then you have to do the same thing for a wire running to your battery. So this is the end result of the charge controller that I did. You'll notice that I measured it that far, so I cut the wire. I had a lot of extra wire that I can use, and I crimped those lugs on it, and then I soldered them to be sure, and then it'll hook up right to the charge controller, and it's pretty sturdy. Now for this step, you're going to need a couple of zip ties and the charge controller. Now I had to drill out these holes of the charge controller in order to get these zip ties to fit through. Okay, so I counted over 6 holes on either side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I put the nylon tie wraps through there, and I'm just hanging them from the bottom. So I'm just gonna hang those. They're out of the sun and they're out of the weather. And so they'll be fine for hanging this charge controller on. Okay, I connected the MC4s together. This is the red one. And what I'm gonna do to tidy things up is I'm gonna just bring it up here like this, and I'm gonna use a tie wrap, nylon tie wrap, to hold it there to get it up and out of the way. Okay, I ran the cables from the solar panel up here, and I used tie wraps to tie it off here. I need to trim that one. I've trimmed the other one, and I've trimmed both tie wraps that held the charge controller onto the crossbar. And you can